right. Finally finished YOLO. Okay, just comparing and contrasting the original to the instrumental. Now I think I finished YOLO. Oh, come on! God, I'm on my last life. I better have gotten it right this time. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Jake. This channel is called Jake of All Trades, and third time's the charm. I am doing YOLO again today, because when I first reacted to YOLO, I was just doing like regular reactions and, you know, just checking out the music video or the live version or whichever was suggested. And then I just kind of go about my day being like, oh, I like this, I like that, and whatnot. Then I started doing compare and contrast later and saw that there was an instrumental version available, so I'm like, oh, time to revisit this and do a compare and contrast. Only to find out that I was missing a ton. It was not just the music video and the instrumental, but I also missed out on the live version. I also missed out on an acoustic version, and I missed out on a Band Maiko version called Yolo Siosu? Please forgive me, I do not speak Japanese. Unless, of course, you've seen my my Ijime Dame Zetai video. Even then, I'm not sure if you can say I speak Japanese. Anyway, third round. Hopefully I get all the different versions this time. So I have heard the song before, as that should be obvious at this point. But I am curious to kind of hear how they make this into an acoustic and how they alter it for Band Maiko, as well as seeing if they do anything different between the original version and the live version. So there should be a lot to analyze and unpack, and I'm excited about it. I know they do this for a lot of their songs. Should be fun. Should be fun to check this out. Before I get into it, I am going to give a shout out to everyone who suggested this song, even if I gave you a shout out for doing this before. I've got Curtis R. Robles, Darren McGregor with 4 votes, Fernando's Hideaway, Gary Holloway, Greylock 100, JK Kansas Band with 9 votes, excuse me, Keith Meyer, Paul 2472, Sandcrab, Tom Clark with 2 votes, Toshi Matio, and that's on the YOLO side. And then for YOLO Sios, I'm sorry, I have BM for Life, Davey Boyd, Edward Allen, Izzy Dizzy, KH, Mark Hayes, Mikoto with 2 votes, Phil Calvino, Reese with 2 votes, and Tom Clark once again. So thank you for suggesting this. Thank you for prompting me to redo this and making me aware of everything I missed before. I'm excited to finally like get the whole of it, or at least I hope so, and be able to really just dive into all the different things that they do differently between all the different versions. Without any further ado, I'm going to start off with the music video, then I'll do the instrumental, which were the 2 I've done before, and then I'm not sure the order I'm going to go into next, but take it as it comes. Here we go. All right, so for the third time, Band Maid YOLO official music video. Here we go. Let's see if I can pick up on any new details from the last time. Greylock, I'm not sure if it's what you said or not, but I think I hear the bass more in this one.
Doesn't
look like Mickey's playing for this part. Numbers all over here. Imagine how much time it took to set up that set. I also wonder what the inspiration is for it too. Got different harmonics. I wish I could tap like that. I like how Meeks' bass is actually brought a little bit more forward than the clean guitar too. Harmony is very back there in the mix. All right, on to the instrumental. All right, so now I'm on Fernando's Hideaway's channel, and we're going to be doing the instrumental version like I did last time. I know, it's a little bit of a repeat, but I want to have it all together, so here we go. I love how much fun they have in these pictures. You know, without the vocals, the rhythm guitar doesn't sound quite as distorted, weirdly. A little bit more here. Yeah, the last picture almost looks like maybe like an early show or something. There's so many like interesting harmonics here. It's like Misa has her own melody. Going really high here. So now we know what they do when Miku's working the crowd. This still amuses me. You got a high harmony, harmonic, low harmonic. Yeah, when I mentioned in the last one that the clean guitar was kind of, it lends more to the ambiance than, and the bass is a little bit more featured in that part. And Konami here is just like, I didn't get the memo that this is the calm part. I like that this final chord has like a suspended second in it too. That like makes it feel like, I don't know, like there's more. I don't know. I'm not entirely sure. Maybe there's something in the lyrics that would kind of lend itself to the meaning, but I don't know. I'm just speculating at this point. All right, on to the next one. Okay, so here I just finished doing Awkward, the acoustic version, and on the same video they have an acoustic version for Yolo, so I am about to check that one out here. So without any further ado, let's get into Yolo acoustic. Here we go. I don't know what she's saying there. Gosh, this has got such a different feel. I really like how Maid is able to take something with an entirely different feel to it and like redo it in a way that's so refreshing. She's still having plenty of fun on that guitar there, though. Like the picking. They harmonize so well. I like that little vibrato she has on that low note there. I wish it wasn't just still images. It'd be fun to watch the different chords that she's making in fills. You know, these bandmade acoustics would make for a really good way to just calm yourself before you go to bed at night. These are really, really pleasant. All right, live version time. It's Studio Coast 2017. Here we go. You can hear that they kept that as the backing track. Oh, stark contrast in how that's mixed. I always find this live fascinating because Miku here, Konami here, just so different than the studio. Still can't hear Miku's harmony unless you sing in unison. Some chromaticism. You definitely can't hear Miku at all here. I mean, at least they're singing anyway. Can't wait to see them live someday. Gabby just completely dropped out here. There she is. Her taps are so clean. One thing I really appreciate about the live is like just how much Psyche just seems more emotionally into it than in a music video. Oh, there's Miku. Psyche's got such good stage presence, holy cow. Okay, last and probably not least, because band Maiko versions are always really fascinating and cool, we have Yolo Siosu. I'm probably butchering that, but please let me know if I am in the comments. Here we go. Already very different. I always love the inclusion of the Japanese instrumentation. That flute sounds like it's kind of like moving around a little bit. Kujo? I noticed the lyrics are slightly different, I think. Oh yeah, definitely. Like that extra little percussion in there. Unless they kept a lot of the same from the original version in this. That layer of the Japanese instrumentation just makes this feel more full. Well, this is taking an interesting turn. Vocals? Japanese instrumentation, how it just like subdivides the notes even further. Micro versions never seem to disappoint, do they? Man, that one was really good. I always love that extra touch.
All right, so as I was editing, I discovered that there was actually a sixth version, a piano version. I discovered that by inserting the comments to give everyone shout outs, and they're like, wait, there's a piano version? Oh, I missed that one. So here we go. We're going to do the piano version. That's really pretty. In there. There's the main riff. Is slightly different. Sounds like she's doing a little variation on the chorus too. So time to break down the 5 different versions of Yolo. To be frank, I'm probably not going to be talking a heck of a lot about the instrumental version just because it doesn't add a heck of a lot and doesn't really do much in terms of comparing. It's the same as the studio version, just without the vocals. But it does prove useful when trying to learn the song and being able to hear the instrumentals a little bit better without the vocals covering that up so much.
And even same thing with the live version too, except I'm going to be talking a little bit more about that one. The live version is actually really helpful because I can hear Konami's guitar in the right ear and Miku's guitar in the left ear. So if I'm trying to learn to play the song on the guitar, I've got a nice little example that I can isolate on this side and this side if I'm trying to learn both parts. And that's one of the things that sets the live version apart from the others, is that the guitars are very much isolated in each ear, whereas in the other mixes, save the acoustic version, there's only one guitar there. You're just kind of immersed in the guitar on both sides, and it's balanced equally. It doesn't sound like a professionally mixed and produced live acoustic version. So it sounds a little bit more like an audience type audio. However, because it's acoustic, you just got the vocals and the one acoustic guitar. It's not like the sound's getting drowned out and there's a bunch of clipping or any problems like that. So it's still very clear and easy to hear. One thing I noticed from the get-go, the acoustic versions tend to be very much tamed, subdued versions of their original counterparts. And in the verse, just listening to Psyche's vocals in the acoustic version, it feels like she's got like this sense of freedom as she's singing it, and she's a lot more quietly singing. She sounds like she's got like a little bit more of a full tone in the live versions, the Band Miko version and studio versions. But in the acoustic, she's very much conserved, and I noticed she'll kind of like slide a little bit more, as well as use her head voice a lot more in that as well. In terms of the Band Miko version versus the others, the main thing, I know that that Psyche sings in a different dialect, and I can definitely hear some of the differences. I'm not very familiar with Japanese and the various dialects, so I could not at all tell you, there's this difference and that difference. I could just kind of hear like little bits, like added notes at the end of the chorus or something like that. Aside from that, one of the signature differences of the Band Miko versions is the adding of the traditional Japanese instruments to the mix as well. And this is not an area I'm particularly educated in, so I wouldn't be able to necessarily identify which instrument and be able to call them out. But I always, in the Band Miko versions, just love that touch. It adds so much character to the song. And even in the intro, for each of the songs, you've got the kind of like this band limiting to kind of coming out into fullness thing in the intro. And a little bit of glitchiness. But then in the Band Miko version, it's like you've got like kids laughing, and you got like some more Japanese instrumentation going on, and it's just like a really neat different take on that lead into the song. So I thought that was really, really cool. Okay, so one other thing I wanted to note too is in the acoustic version is Konami also kind of draws out those chords much longer than in the studio and other versions, where like they just kind of have like the da-na-na-na, da-na-na-na, whereas Konami on the acoustic version just kind of holds out those chords for the whole section before she changes to the next chord. So then going into the pre-chorus and chorus, one thing I noticed also in the acoustic version is again Psyche kind of laying back with a little bit more of a somber and I don't want to say confined tone, but just like a little bit more of a subdued tone versus her very strong, almost belted singing for the other versions. And also, one of the things that I noticed too, I said I wasn't going to talk a lot about the instrumental, but one of the things I really appreciate about it is that I can really hear the guitar doing the da-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na. I really like that lead guitar there, that little melody in the background. It kind of gets drowned out in Psyche's vocals in the other versions, but it just in the instrumental it stands out, and I really like that. I wish I could hear it a little bit more in the other versions, but it is what it is, and when you kind of peel back the layers, you get all these like nice other little nuggets in there. So that was something I appreciated about that. Also, in the Band Miko version, I think one of the things that stands out as well is the Japanese instrumentals that they that they mix in as the icing on the top of the cake, I think really fits a lot better in the chorus. Like in the beginning of the song, you notice them and you hear that they're there. But for some reason, when it hits the chorus, it blends really well and accentuates the chords and the chord progressions and the melodies like really, really well. I don't know. There's like, it doesn't quite do it as well prior to the chorus, but once it hits the chorus, it's like, ooh, this sounds really good. And it reminds me of like why when I listen to the different versions of Band Maid songs and then I listen to the Band Maiko one, it's like oftentimes so far that I've experienced anyway, I tend to prefer the Band Maiko versions because it just adds that extra character. This one's no exception. Getting into this next part was a little bit harder because the acoustic one threw me for a little bit of a wrench as I was listening through it again. I'm just like, wait a second. It almost sounds like Konami just like, you know, during the chord progression that she plays during the second verse, she gets really playful. She'll like do these like fun little variations, like so with some palm mutes and like some other little fills and stuff in between chords, and I appreciated that. But then the fact that Psyche wasn't singing at all there, whereas the other versions kind of get straight into the second verse where Psyche starts singing again, and then like the next time you hear Psyche singing, she's singing the chorus, and I'm like, wait a minute. And then what's also kind of fun about that too is that when she starts singing that the second chorus, Konami's like doing some, like, instead of playing full on chords like you'd expect with the big explosive chorus that you get in the other versions, she like starts doing some arpeggiated like string skipping and like, that's quite different compared to everything else. That's one of the things I certainly appreciated, but it left me a little confused. One of the things I noticed as we're discussing the second verse, pre-chorus, and second chorus, in the verse, you can definitely tell that in the beginning part, you kind of have them going off in different directions. Like, Konami is doing something over here, and Misa's doing something over here, and you got a lot of these really interesting sounds that it almost sounds like you're kind of like maybe picking up your guitar while you've got it plugged into the amp and whatnot, and then you're setting it down and just whatever noise comes out. But they're punctuated at the end of like these different musical phrases, but they're each doing something different. And even in the second part of the verse, Konami's kind of doing this. I know, bad impression. And then Misa's going off on a run, and Miku drops out completely. So like you hear Konami here and Misa here, and they're doing something completely separate. Then once the pre-chorus comes, they progressively start to come back together. Verse, separation, then pre-chorus part one, it's like they start to kind of do something cohesive, but then I noticed there is a particular part in the progression where with Konami's lead guitar, she's going down in the progression, like, and then Misa goes up, and it creates a nice cool harmony there. So they're together, but they're still like doing something separate to still create that harmony. And then in the second part, they really kind of come together, and then bam, back into the explosive chorus. So that was kind of like a neat, separate, come together, like this tension and then unifying. Is a really cool artistic choice on their part. And same thing with the Band Maiko version as well. Like adding that the Japanese instrumentation over the top too, also just kind of amplified the separateness of what they were doing in the verse, and then like the way that the instruments accent the rest of what was originally in the studio version is really, really neat, and just like puts a huge smile on my face once it hits that point. I'm just like, oh, I love this so much. All right, so finishing it off, going into the bridge, final chorus, and everything. So after listening to it a little bit closer, I think I figured out what I was thinking with the acoustic version. Like, oh, they just skipped straight to the second chorus. Actually, it sounded like they skipped straight past like the second verse, second chorus, the the bridge and the guitar solo and all that stuff, and went to the chorus that followed the guitar solo from the original version. So, and that's why Konami's guitar was so light there. So I think that's what that was. Please correct me if you disagree and believe I'm wrong there. So that was one of the things I think I figured out why that was. And so getting into, I just find it weird that they skipped that whole section because that's a lot of content. Because just thinking about what comes after that second chorus in the other versions, it's like you've got like a lead in with this and then it gets into Konami's like wicked tapping solo, like, which is made all the more impressive by the live version, because it's one thing when you're doing it studio version, like you get all the takes in the world and whatnot, but then you do it live and you do it as cleanly as Konami does, is just like jaw-dropping. It's just one of those things that really impresses me as a guitar player. And one of the things too that I appreciate about the solo when the band Maiko version comes in is that with the Japanese instruments, and I think one of them, I know the Chinese name is guzheng. I don't know what it is in Japanese, but I believe it's the guzheng. Like the way that also accents and like even adds to the solo, and even afterwards too, kind of like the lead-ins where it's just kind of like the quick is just really tastefully implemented, like in this whole latter section of the song. Not only adding like the subdivisions and the accents to the different chords and stuff, and arpeggiating things, but just like those extra little and like little plucks here to like kind of finish the phrase, is just really artfully implemented in the band Maiko version of the song. And one of the other variations that I liked too, that I didn't really pick up on the first few listens, was like, okay, why does the final chorus sound so different? Well, it's not the rhythm guitar isn't going the it's actually there's a layer of that guitar that's doing that slower, where it's like but it's still the same progression, just like
slowed way down
and extended across multiple measures. And the other thing too is that it's also repeating what was in the intro. So that was something I'm like, something sounds different on this, and I just wasn't able to put my finger on it until just now, which may be kind of pathetic after doing 2 different reaction videos prior to this. But hey, some of us learned a little slower than others. So all those different variations and just all the ways that Maid kind of defies your expectations is like just never ceases to amaze me. Like, you've got the basic song structure of a normal song, but then they figure out ways to just subvert your expectations, and you're just like, I like that. So in the acoustic version, to touch on that one real quick on my way closing out this video, you don't have that same power as the other versions, but like Konami still finishes it off with just really like soothing chord progression. And I noticed the final chord isn't quite as doesn't have like the same tension and suspension that the others do, where it's like in the other versions it has like that suspended second final chord. Whereas I don't hear the suspended second in the acoustic. I like how I can hear Miku a little bit more, and in Konami, especially in the acoustic version, at the end of the song. Whereas like she seems a little bit buried in earlier parts of the song. I don't know if like the sound engineer is kind of like, yeah, I don't hear much Miku here, and like turn it up or something near the end. Not sure, but it's always nice when Miku adds those harmonies, because she just complements Nike's voice so well. Okay, so I'm adding a little bit at the end here because I didn't realize there was a piano version until like way late in the editing process. I was adding the comments in and going like, oh, there's comments saying there's a piano version. Oops. So there's obvious, like very obvious differences. I'm gonna skip over those between the piano version and the other 5. But one of the things that I really wanted to point out was that Konami starts with the chorus in this version, which is really nice. It's a beautiful way to open. I mean, the whole arrangement is gorgeous. But she starts off with the chorus and then goes into the intro as the way she structures this version of the song. I noticed some cuts in the video and whatnot, but whatever, that's not a huge thing. And her the way she moves her hands across the piano is just very graceful. She's not like how I would be when I play the piano, where I'm just like, oh crap, I gotta go to this, I gotta go down here. I was a terrible piano player. But one of the things, I started to get a little bit
emotional listening to this, and the reason is I was thinking this reminded me a lot of this piano track that I used to listen to when I would go to sleep at night when I was in high school. So for a little bit of personal background, I started experiencing some panic attacks when I was in high school. And I thought I was having a heart attack. I went to my dad, who's a doctor, and was like, I think there's something wrong with my heart or my brain or something. And he's like, you've got anxiety and you're experiencing some panic attacks. And so he got me this very therapeutic piano CD to listen to as I would go to sleep at night. And it was so soothing, and it was really, really helpful. It really helped me overcome those panic attacks. I maybe had maybe one panic attack ever since then, and that was, I'll just say, over a decade ago. And this track really reminded me of that. So it really kind of touches a personal spot for me. Just something to overcoming anxiety. Now, I can't find that piano track anymore that I used to fall asleep to. The CD went missing. I don't have the MP3 anymore. Something happened to it, and I tried to frantically search it on YouTube. I couldn't find it. But if I ever have another panic attack or a severe bout of anxiety again, this is definitely a go-to for me. So it definitely was really, really pleasant to listen to this version. Alright, so back to my original outro.
But that is all I can think of for this video. I know it was a long one, breaking down 5 different versions of a song. I know when I did that with Nightwish, I got complaints okay, maybe just do 2 or 3. 5 is a little over the top. But hey, my channel. I don't know of anyone else that's doing this, but then again, I haven't looked that hard. But anyway, hope you enjoyed it. Hope you had fun. Hope you learned something, maybe, from whatever you could learn from me. But that's all for this video. If you haven't already, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, turn on all notifications so that you don't miss anything going forward. If you have any requests for other Band-Maid songs or other bands you'd like to see me react to and do compare and contrast and analyses for, drop it in a comment below. Also, if you want to see me do any particular vocal covers or guitar covers, I'll also give you a shout out whenever I do those requests. And also, I want to thank BM for Life and Jonas S for supporting me on Patreon. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much for tuning in for this super long video. I really appreciate it. And for the 3rd time of me going through this song. So, thank you again. Enjoy the rest of your day. God bless you. And rock on.